So a couple of people might have been surprised by my transgender pin that I put on this morning. I figured it's about time that I came out and talked about my gender identity. I am trigender, which means like a triangle, I have 3 genders: male, female, and non-binary. And the difference between trigender and gender fluid is that I feel all 3 of these genders at the same time. All the time. It doesn't ever shift or change, or where I feel one gender more strongly than the other, like gender fluid tends to be. Also, I should recognize and accept that a lot of people don't see non-binary as a 3rd gender. They see it as something completely separate from the binary of male and female. But for me, it's like a 3rd gender. Or I guess you could call it a 3rd identity. So how I feel gender-wise is like a man, like a woman, and as neither at the same time. I hope this clears things up, but let me know if you have any more questions. I'm happy to answer.
What did you say?
So how I feel gender-wise is like a man, like a woman, and as neither at the same time.
That doesn't make sense.
My question for people like the young lady we just heard from in the first clip, who looked like she just got done blowing Papa Smurf, would be, how do you know what it feels like to be a man? Genuine question. Like, I literally have no idea what it feels like to be a woman, and I would never pretend to. But we're supposed to believe that she knows what it feels like to be a man? There I go again, trying to make sense of the nonsensical. Anyway, welcome back. Thank you guys so much for joining me. So I have a fairly quick and very crazy Clown World update for you guys today, and as usual, we have very little time to waste, so let's get into it. Now, if you place your attention on the screen for a moment now, I don't know who this is, I don't know what this is, but I get sick and tired of seeing these big burly fellas with 5 o'clock shadows talking about how they're lesbians and they only use ladies' restrooms, so this is a little break from that, I guess.
What the fuck? What the fuck is wrong with you? What the fuck is wrong with you?
Okay.
Let's keep this party rolling with yet another Hollywood celebrity who suffers from a severe case of TDS, also known as Trump derangement syndrome. Here we have singer, songwriter, actor, Hollywood elite John Legend. Roll it.
You've used your platform to criticize President Trump substantially.
Yeah, because he deserves the criticism. He's done some awful things in America, and he's, I think, a really terrible person as well.
In what way?
I think he's selfish, he's racist, he's misogynist, he's a liar, probably the worst liar we've ever seen in public life. He's really ill-informed, a narcissist. I could go on.
You could. And this is.
But I think it's clear that he's an awful person and he shouldn't be president.
And this is where you've been at loggerheads, and I know you've made up now and everything's cool there. But on Twitter for a while there was a brief spat.
But I think it's not really about us making up and about individual people having a discussion about the merits of Donald Trump. I think what matters is what he does in office, and what I was pointing out during my argument with Kanye and also my general statements about what's going on in this administration is it doesn't matter whether you like this guy personally. What matters is what he's doing in office. And one of the things he has chosen to do is use the office as a tool for white supremacy, to say we don't want certain immigrants coming from certain countries because they don't look a certain way, treating immigrants like they're animals, separating their families. And it's not enough to say he's impolite, he's racist, he says things that are mean about other people. But if you put his policies into action, they cause real life consequences for people. And it's not really debatable whether those consequences are awful. They're pretty awful.
What did you say? What the fuck did you just say?
I think he's selfish, he's racist, he's misogynist, he's a liar, probably the worst liar we've ever seen in public life. He's really ill-informed, a narcissist. I could go on.
Who the do you think you are, you crazy little shit?
Now, it should come as a surprise to no one that John Legend is a shitlib who suffers from severe TDS. But I have a clip of another Hollywood celebrity. He's actually a really big musician that I would have never pegged as a TDS sufferer. Just save that clip for tomorrow's video, so make sure you tune in for that. I was actually kind of surprised to hear him say the things he said. Anyway, next up, so this individual, who is a biological man that identifies as a trans woman, is wondering when they're going to start species-affirming surgeries. What? Roll it.
I'm just wondering when there's gonna be like more species-affirming surgeries. I got bottom surgery, it's great. Love it, fantastic. Having a V is awesome. But like, how close are we to like when can I get a tail? When can I have my ears removed and pointed and put on my the top of my head instead? When can I have fur all over my entire body? When can I have my skull restructured so that I have a snoot? What about like scales? Cause I'll settle for being a scaly. Could get my tongue split, like, could I be gooey? Could I get like paw pads? Could I have my legs, bones like restructured to be like digigrade? What about like antlers? Like, come on, that's gotta be possible medically. How close are we to these things? Scientists, Hank Green.
Say what?
When can I have my skull restructured so that I have a snoot?
Are you out of your fucking mind?
Hey guys, real quick, I don't want to harp on this too much today because I mentioned it a couple times in yesterday's video, but I know my microphone still sounds terrible. I was so busy today, I had no time to try to figure out the settings on this, and I really appreciate all the tips and advice you guys left in yesterday's video to try to get it straightened out, and I will get it straightened out. And if I can't figure this one out, I'll go get a new one, but we'll get there. I promise we'll get there. So once again, I apologize for the janky sound. Thank you guys so much for bearing with me. Anyway, next up, so this fellow who is a teacher thinks it's okay to be racist towards white people. Really? Roll it.
You wrote, so if someone that isn't white hates on a white person based on their skin color, what do you call that? You're not going to like my answer. I call it justifiable. White-bodied people have conquered and colonized almost this entire planet. As a history teacher, I teach my students about the scramble for Africa, in which all of these European countries came together to decide which parts of Africa they were going to colonize. And then about the age of exploration, in which Europeans sailed over to the Western Hemisphere and committed genocide against any and every indigenous population they came across. And then I teach about the transatlantic slave trade, and then slavery, and then Jim Crow, and then the war on drugs, and then mass incarceration, and then about people that deny the experience of Black, Brown, Indigenous, and other people of color to this day. So you ask me what I call a person that hates on a white person because they're white? I call them a reasonable human being who's just making decisions based on reason and experience.
What the hell did you just say?
So if someone that isn't white hates on a white person based on their skin color, what do you call that? You're not going to like my answer. I call it justifiable.
That's racism, man. I love to racism, bro.
Well, it's just another ad for homeschooling, I guess. Anyway, next up, the comment says, girl, you are white. You move through the world as a white woman. You reap the benefits of white people. Bye. Roll it.
So right here, they say I have the benefits of white skin, so I have to be white. No, that's not how it works, boo. I got black blood in me. I'm black. I accept my blackness. You can't tell me what I am, baby.
And you ain't black.
Hey, real quick, before we go any further, I want to give a huge shout out to the sponsors of today's video. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to let this loop on the screen. Now, I know I've said this before, but it's worth repeating. This young lady has spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on implants and cosmetic surgeries and such to look like that. On purpose. That's not an accident. Although it looks like one. Anyway, today's video is being brought to us by our first sponsor is Patty Howland. Patty, thank you so much for sponsoring today's video. I really appreciate the support. Second sponsor of today's video is longtime subscriber and good friend of the channel, John DiArcangelo. Now, John has a message for everyone. He says, tell everyone to stay strong. Good times are coming back. And eventually, I think they will, but it's going to be a rough ride till we get there. So once again, today's video sponsors are Patty Howen and John D'Arcangelo. Now, if you'd like to sponsor the next video and help support the channel, there is a PayPal link in the description box below, and I will say your full name as a sponsor of said video unless stated otherwise by you. All right, I think we've all seen enough of this mess. Get this off the screen, please. Oof.
You look ridiculous.
All right, next up. So there's a lady in the comments section of this young fella's TikTok trying to guess what he is. She says, you have a daughter, question mark, question mark. Are you a trans man? I can't decide. Gay man, trans man, or what? One thing I can tell you he is, a Biden-Harris voter. Roll it.
Are you a trans man? Are you a gay man, trans man? I can't decide. You don't have to decide, Heather. I'll tell you exactly what I am. I'm your worst nightmare. Sorry. I'm an Antifa super soldier, Heather. I'm the head of the DEI department at your company, Heather. Hang on, I gotta think of more. Hang on. I'm the architect of critical race theory, Heather. I've personally trans 74 children, Heather. I'm an endocrinologist in the bushes.
Yeah, that's not funny.
So we have two clips today to wrap the video up that kind of go hand in hand with each other. So the first clip is this one of former Georgia State Representative Stacey Abrams saying that if you attack DEI or diversity, equity, and inclusion, you're actually attacking democracy itself. I'm not kidding. Roll it.
What we know is that the attack on diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, is an attack on democracy. It's an attack on education. It's an attack on how our economy works.
Excuse me, did you just say?
What we know is that the attack on diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, is an attack on democracy.
Are you fucking dumb?
So you saw that, you heard that. Stacey Abrams literally just said that attacking DEI is like attacking democracy itself. And speaking of DEI, we're going to be wrapping it up with this clip of Baltimore's DEI mayor, Brandon Scott, talking about how he's going to direct COVID relief funds to non-white organizations. You can't make this shit up. Anyway, things are clearly getting very crazy out there, guys, so please take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Till next time, love you guys. Peace. Roll it.
For too long, public dollars have simply just gone to the big names and the big players in town. And dare I say, I know my staff is going to hate this, the big names and big players in town that just happen to be white-ran organizations in Baltimore. This investment made possible through the American Rescue Plan Act. Thank you, President Biden. Thank you to our congressional delegation. Underscores our dedication to ensuring that all artists and communities have equitable access to resources and opportunities in Baltimore.
Can you repeat the part of the stuff where you said all about the things? The things?
The big names and big players in town that just happen to be white-ran organizations.
That's the dumbest thing you could have said. What are you, an idiot?
I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true and international effort to pressure. True and international effort to pressure. True and international effort to pressure.